Good evening, everyone. This is Kevin again. We're going to do a quick sound check. All right, looks like we are good to go here. We're going to get started here. It's 5:30 with the latest on Zeta and some of the observations that we are seeing across the area. Let's see if we can kind of get started. There we go. Welcome back again. My name is Kevin Gilmore with the National Weather Service at New Orleans Baton Rouge office located in Slidell, Louisiana. We're going to kind of talk about the latest with Zeta and see what's going on. We apologize about this sound issues we had before. It looks like that's been ironed out. So if you have any issues at all at any point, just feel free to drop it in the comments, and we'll make sure to fix that as fast as possible. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and show you the latest that we got going on with Zeta. Zeta is now located at the center of the storm near Jean Lafitte, but it's coming up right in New Orleans. So some of the worst conditions have already began in New Orleans, and we are seeing a lot of video, a lot of reports, a lot of information coming out of New Orleans that some of this is getting pretty serious now. We see MSYs gusting now to 55 miles per hour, other locations near 60 miles per hour. So we're seeing about 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in the city now. As of just a little bit ago, we're now seeing around 127,000 people without power in Louisiana total. I'm not sure about if we're in correlation to how many in New Orleans are out in correlation to the rest of the state, but still we're seeing a lot of power outages like we expected. And again, the storm is coming up to New Orleans right now. It's 5:30, so it's coming up to the city now, and it'll be some pretty bad conditions here for at least the next hour for the city. So again, I was trying to advertise, just hunker down. Treat this almost like a tornado warning in a way. Just stay in the center of the room of where you're staying right now, just to kind of keep. Don't be outside. Do not travel. We've seen a lot of video of already people out traveling. Just don't do it. Unless it's an emergency, do not get out there and travel and leisure around in something like this, because you're putting your life in danger in a situation like this. So absolutely do not travel in something like this. So as we say, we're going to talk about now what we're going to see coming up here in the next little bit. This is going to be coming up to the North Shore soon. Mandeville, Covington, Slidell, Pearl River, Picayune, Kiln, and Bay St. Louis, you're next as far as these increase in impacts. Slidell, I know I took video before, but I believe the video is what caused the audio issues. So I'm just going to tell you from what we've been seeing outside the office is that we are seeing some pretty high winds here already. We're talking winds now culminating around 40 miles per hour across the area. This expands all the way in Covington and Mandeville, so it is really windy out across that area, but that's going to get even more windy as this eye wall portion continues up to the north. Now, I was just talking to the radar operator who's watching a lot of these cells and the storms that are possibly producing some of these water spouts out here. And they're constantly monitoring these storms as well. But also, we're seeing that there's actually a lot of high wind coming in on the southeastern part of the storm, even behind it. So I know we were talking about focus on the eye wall, but there's also a lot of high winds out towards Port Sulphur, Venice, down to Pilot Town. Getting down to Empire, they're seeing very significant impacts down there, and even Grand Isle is still really windy down there on the backside of the hurricane. So there is going to still be a lot of high winds on the backside. Even for when it passes, you're still going to be at a risk for seeing these high damaging winds. Also, we want to mention, too, that surge is still an ongoing issue. We're talking about Grand Isle all across the Mississippi Delta and Plaquemines Parish. St. Bernard, this is a serious issue going into Lake Bourne. We're seeing increases in Lake Pontchartrain and all across coastal Mississippi. For right now, the most significant impacts remain to be coastal Mississippi, just due to the fact of the orientation of the coastline next to the direction of the storm and it's moving. So for coastal Mississippi, you're going to see some very serious surge inundation issues in that area. You're already seeing some high winds. We're seeing winds around 30 to 40 at Gulfport, Pascagoula, a little less, around 30, 25 to 30 miles per hour. But that's going to keep increasing through the next few hours. So for most locations who are already seeing some of the impacts, including New Orleans up to the North Shore and coastal Mississippi, you're seeing some of the worst conditions now, and it will continue to get worse here for the next little bit. Just be aware that we are not out of the woods anywhere in our area. We are seeing maybe some of the winds starting to turn back around over Oklahoma, and some of the rain is coming to an end. But still, even going towards Morgan City, winds are gusting 20, maybe even 30 miles per hour. So the winds are still strong on the backside of it as well. So again, any of these yellows that you see here is where we're seeing some of the higher winds. These reds is even higher winds than that. So this is a very dangerous situation going across New Orleans right now. St. Charles, if I name your parish, you're experiencing some of the worst conditions right now. That's going to be St. Charles, northern Jefferson, Orleans, parts of St. Bernard, or pretty much all of St. Bernard, and all of Plaquemines Parish, and even still Lafourche Parish. You are all experiencing some of the worst conditions ongoing right now. If you don't see bad conditions right now, it's either you just had it or you're about to have it. So these are the areas that we're seeing where the worst conditions are going on right now. Now, if we move back up to the north, I'm going to name your parish out, Tangipahoa, specifically maybe southern Tangipahoa, maybe parts of Livingston Parish, maybe as far west as Livingston Parish, all of St. Tammany Parish, all of Washington, Pearl River County, Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson County. Even for our friends in National Weather Service Mobile covers, George, Stone, Perry, and Greene. And for our friends in Jackson, Forest, Lamar, and Marion County, and Walthall County, Mississippi. All these areas are going to experience some impacts, some possibly significant, from when Zeta eventually gets up towards the north. That's going to be possibly here in the next, I would say, probably we're talking around 6:30 to 7:30, possibly for the North Shore. Beginning here, probably in the next hour for around Slidell, maybe the next hour to hour and 15 minutes for Slidell, and then ongoing all the way till at least 7 o'clock. So Covington and Mandeville is going to be, again, more primarily, at least in the next hour, beginning in the next hour, till about 7 o'clock. Conditions are going to get a little bit worse also in Gulfport and Biloxi as the storm gets a little bit closer to your area. Really, the conditions are bad now and will continue to get worse as we go on here for the next few hours. So that's the current overview of where the storm is right now and what's going on. Some of the peak wind reports that we've seen, again, earlier was a gust of 105 in Grand Isle. I'm not sure if we've had higher reports than that. We've heard some preliminary reports of a little bit higher, especially some marine reports as well, of some of the worst conditions out in the marine areas. But again, it really, with a storm like this, the storm has the capability of producing over 100 mile per hour winds, especially close into the northeast and east of the center. And now, as I mentioned before, even to the southeast of the center, we may have some significant high wind issues. See here from Buras right now, if you know Buras and central southern parts of Plaquemines Parish, gusting to 66 miles per hour. And if you move a little bit further north, let's see, that's New Orleans Naval Air Station near Belchase, or just that would be probably north of, right north of Belchase. That's going to be winds now gusting near 60 miles per hour, and then MSY, the airport, New Orleans International Airport, is closing in now to 60 miles per hour. So like I said, this is something you do not want to be in at all. Do not be out in this. If you're in the city, just stay in, let the storm pass. We promise the storm will not be sticking around. It'll be accelerating. It's currently accelerating very fast to the northeast. So once this gets out of here, it's out of here. And by early tomorrow morning, it's not going to be a problem anymore. So this is just a big storm right now we're going to have to deal with tonight. But I want people in at least the greater New Orleans area to kind of treat this as if this is basically a tornado warning. Do not go out. Do not venture. Stay in the inside of your house or wherever you live. Stay in the inside. Do not get near windows, because something like this can loft debris. And debris can hit windows. If it shatters, you can get injured, or possibly worse. So we don't want anything like that. We do not want any injuries or any fatalities in something like this. That's why we're pushing this message as hard as we can. So going back here, let's kind of show you what we got going on, some of the reports. There's so many reports I can't actually physically write these down and keep up with them in time. Instead, what we're doing is we got several people right now working on gathering reports and pushing them out on Twitter. So if you're following us on Twitter, that's the best place to find the best information the fastest. We see here weather flow near Bayou Benaview was just now near a gust of 80 miles per hour. And then it looks like we got also Decatur Street near French Quarter. We got some, we got some information going on here. Let's see real quick. Decatur Street in New Orleans and French Quarter. We got a tree down actually in this location. So this is becoming a little bit of a problem. That's why we don't want anyone out there who's traveling across the area. This is a very dangerous situation. As we go a little bit further down near Cutoff, Louisiana, we got some reports of some fences that's been blown down from trees, shingles and down trees as well. Let's see, going across here, flooded roads through Houma. Homa's had a lot of significant impacts as well. And we got a pole down here near Williams Boulevard, and I believe that is going to be in Kenner, Louisiana. So this is, I want to show you this picture here this is a good representation of why we do not want anyone driving around the area. This is a dangerous situation, because if you're driving and this happened, that could land on your car and possibly injure or kill you. This is a serious situation, and why we don't want anyone out and around this area. So we can continue ahead too. We were talking about earlier some of the tide gauges. We're seeing some increases here. This is Waveland. Some of the higher water levels are just now starting to creep up in your area. So this is a pretty serious situation as far as a serious storm surge goes. If I recall from the latest update, it was around 6 to 9 feet, but I believe that's now 7 to 11 feet for the coastal Mississippi area. So this is a serious situation in that area as well. So as you're going across here, I'm kind of reluctant to play videos, because I believe videos was the reason for the feed interruption before when I lost audio. But you see here, if you can kind of view in a little bit here, Mississippi coast, we're seeing some impacts here. Lake Pontchartrain, we're getting some very, as we call, angry. It's looking very angry out there right now. Some very high seas across Lake Pontchartrain. So this is, again, a representation of why we do not want anyone out in this type of an environment. High seas also in the marine areas. We're going to take it back here onto the latest radar imagery, which we're showing you before. Greater New Orleans, we're talking about Lake Pontchartrain. We don't want anyone out driving around at all. Slidell, we're seeing some of the worst conditions starting to increase now, winds of around 35 to 40 miles per hour. Again, New Orleans, we may actually see a little bit of a lull, some of the highest winds, when the center of the circulation actually comes over the city. So be aware that there could be a temporary lull in some of the highest winds, but we were talking about before, the winds are still whipping very strong in the back part of the storm. So keep that in mind, especially towards near northern Plaquemines Parish. Again, we're seeing some very bad conditions in that area. Let's see if we got anything else we can show. I think I didn't show this earlier before because this may have cut out with some of the sound, but this is an outside view of our office right now, showing you that we have our shutters up, and this is the first time we've done that since Hurricane Isaac. If some people remember that back in 2012. And this is because we have the potential of seeing some damage across our area. So keep that in the back of your mind, too, that this is representation. I, myself, and a lot of our staff here is currently located in this building right now. And we're going to just ride out the storm. We're here 24/7. We're going to be providing as many updates as we can so that we can get the storm out of here, which hopefully will be as early tomorrow morning. And Thursday may be a lot better day across the area. So that'll be a great kind of bright bright end of the tunnel, basically. Some light at the end of the tunnels. We've been trying to say it, that we're going to have a lot better weather conditions coming up, especially towards later this week. And if you have Halloween plans, it looks like they're going to be very nice. So let's get this out of the way. Also, I forgot to talk about, too, Baton Rouge. Really, it's almost like nothing's going on over there right now. You're seeing only winds at 9 miles per hour from the north, and now the rain is now all to your east. So Baton Rouge really is not a big deal at all. Donaldsonville, a little bit of wind there. City of Plaquemine and New Roads, Clinton and Woodville, really not a big deal at all over in that region. We're talking primarily St. Helena, Livingston, Ascension, St. James, Lafourche, and Terrebonne parishes all to the east across coastal Mississippi is where we're going to be experiencing some of the highest winds and storm surge, heavy rain, and even isolated tornado threat. Let's see if I can show you here real quick, too. See if I have it up. I'm going to have to kind of blow this up a little bit to show you the tornado watch that we have in effect still. There we go. The tornado watch that is still in effect, again, it's pretty much around the same parishes that I just mentioned and counties Mississippi onto the east. Again, this is where we're going to be expecting the potential for some isolated tornadoes, and it's going to be any of these cells that we've been mentioning here. Any of these cells are going to be a little bit of a concern later. We're going to be watching these, and if a warning is required, take it seriously. It may come out in your wireless emergency alert. Lowest floor near the center away from windows is what we've been advertising the most as possible with this event. So if you get a warning, take it seriously. There's going to be small, brief tornadoes, but can still be life-threatening. And again, we're going to be monitoring this very closely. We may do another Facebook Live. I believe we're going to have Chris doing that one at 6:30. So we're going to try and shoot these out at least 1 hour at a time. We'll be posting constant updates on Twitter and Facebook as constantly as possible, providing you with the latest updates as they come into the office. And we promise you to keep you as informed as possible as we just get through the storm. So we're going to end it there. Feel free to continue to comment if you have any questions. We're constantly here answering those. And we will meet you back here at least in the next 45 minutes with the latest on Zeta. So we appreciate you joining, and we'll talk with you then.